Hello, and welcome to my weekly market analysis for the Indian markets. My name is Brandon Wendell, Charter Market Technician, and I'm going to walk you through some of the analysis I'm doing for the index, basically the Nifty index and the Bank Nifty. So, taking a look first at the Nifty weekly chart, we did actually bounce just shy of the demand zone that we were watching last week. As you can see, the 16,722.05, 16,376.05, we had that bounce. We're going to be coming up to a pretty big test because we're going to be testing if this is going to become a downward trend and if we can break out on the momentum on the RSI down below. So, kind of a big test this week for the Nifty. If we end up breaking above both on the momentum and price, then we should be able to go back up to the previous highs. We really don't have anything holding us down from moving all the way up into above 18,500, 18,600, maybe even to all time highs. If, however, we do end up holding either the trend line on the weekly here or the momentum trend, then obviously prices will continue to push back down. And we've retraced 61.8%, but we may end up going down deeper into this demand zone of 16,722, maybe even all the way down to 16,459 before we bounce again. So, kind of a big test this week on the big picture. Moving down into the daily time frame, you can see that we've had that move down and we've retraced 61.8% of the previous upward impulse, and we hit that area twice. And when we did, we see that our momentum is building up a little bit. We also really needed to get above 60 on this RSI. You can see that we simply put in a high right here on the daily chart. That would have been on Thursday. You have rally, there's your high, and then there's the start of a drop where we made a lower high. We did not make a lower low, so that's not confirmed as a peak yet. But if we do end up breaking the low of Thursday, that would confirm that as a peak. And because that whole peak occurred with the RSI less than 60, I would actually expect prices to collapse. Now, if we do break the high of Thursday to the upside, we should be able to push all the way up at least into the 17,999 or 18,000 area. So keep an eye out for that. We should know Monday or Tuesday really what's going on here, whether or not we make a new high or if we make a new low compared to what we did on Thursday, that red candle. Moving down to the 4 hour chart, we're seeing a little bit of weakness again. Prices are trying to make that high again, but couldn't really get us up in the 60, which is the bullish territory for the RSI for momentum. We came off the lows just fine. We had made some higher lows and higher highs, but we just haven't had enough momentum to take us into that strong bullish trend yet. So we got to keep an eye out for that. And if we do break out, we are probably going to stall out right around 18,000 anyway, because we do have some overhead supply right there on both this 4 hour chart and that daily time frame. This is not the most bullish of moves. You can see that we did have a positive divergence where prices made lower lows. The indicator didn't. So that's your positive divergence. It warns of bullishness. But when we made this low right here back in early December, you can see we didn't make a low that held above 40 on the RSI. So that's kind of a bearish sign. Typically, when that occurs, you have struggles breaking out to new highs. Now, we just barely did, but since then, we've been stalling out. So this is our chance to gain our footing in price. If, again, same thing, we can break above 60, then we are off to the upside, 18,000, no problem. Otherwise, look for prices to drop. And if we start taking a little bit closer look here on the 60-minute time frame of the Nifty, where you have multiple peaks all at the same supply zone, testing it over and over and over again, which usually you'll try to break if you test it. Well, unfortunately, as we're going back up and retesting each time, you can see we're doing it with less momentum. Since we're losing the momentum, that's a suggestion that prices are actually ready to come down, not up. We could pause at this gap about 17,200. We have kind of drop-based rally with the gap itself, but I wouldn't expect that to hold too well. So what I'll be watching for is on the 60-minute chart, we haven't done any kind of a weak high yet. Right now we've got similar highs, but you can see we have some divergence where the indicator is showing less momentum. So if we get another peak, like prices pull back a little bit, if they make another rally and can't get the RSI above 60, that's when you're getting ready for the drop. So until that happens, then we're just going to kind of drift sideways for a bit. Going over to the Bank Nifty, you can see we actually did do a retracement, right about the same as the Nifty, the 61.8% retracement. We hit the area of demand. Now, the good news is for the bulls that this stayed above 40, which is a very bullish sign on the RSI. The fact that price put in an official low, and it is a low. You have a low with a higher low and a higher high on either side, but Again, you did not see the RSI go below 40. That's a bullish sign. So it should take us back up, perhaps to this 39,000 area. Looking at the daily chart, we just don't have enough bullish momentum yet. Doesn't mean it won't come in. But as you can see, we made some moves off the low, higher high. That's an uptrend on the daily chart. But we really need to see momentum behind this because otherwise it's not sustainable. And prices pretty much put in a high and a lower high and lower low. You know, that green candle's got lower high and lower low compared to the red. And we were not above 60 on the RSI. Excuse me, so that is definitely showing some weakness in price. And I didn't really measure it. No, I know I did. The measurement down and the retracement up, we're kind of in limbo here. We're not really at a fib retracement value, which technically would be the 38.2% or the 23.6, but we're starting to see some weakness in this area. So I wouldn't expect much movement in either direction. You've got some conflicting information on the higher time frame and the lower. On the Bank Nifty 4-hour, we did bounce off this area of drop. Actually, sorry, it's rally-based drop or drop-based drop, whichever one. Either way, that's the supply that we ran into, and prices stayed below 60, so we held that zone. That's actually bearish. And it's somewhat bearish for a couple of reasons. We didn't get a signal for a reversal of trend. What happened was we got a positive divergence, which is a weakness signal. So that told us our bearish trend was weak, where we had more momentum on the first low than we did on the second low. We had a lot more bearish momentum here. Here we had less bearish momentum, which means they're giving up. Well, then we made two lows, neither one of which could stay above 40. That's pretty bearish. If we had stayed above 40, I would have expected a really big rally out of this. Instead, you can see we tried to rally up, couldn't make any new highs. Maybe above this, but not above this. So we ended up stalling out below 60. This has got a very heavy feel to it where the Bank Nifty might fall down from this level. We are actually seeing that lack of momentum right now on the 60-minute chart. As you can see, prices are making highs, lower highs as a matter of fact, and the momentum is dying off. And on this last peak right now, it's not confirmed. Again, we need to make an actual lower high and lower low after this red candle that we had on Friday. But if we do get that lower high and lower low, we did not get above 60. That's very bearish for the security. We should expect prices to drop very quickly. So we do have a little demand about 36.6, which could hold us up just slightly. If not, we drop down to 35.763. That's kind of what I'm seeing for this week for the Indian markets, at least those two major indexes. If you've got any questions, let me know. And if not, I hope to see you again soon. Make sure you click on subscribe so we can be notified whenever there's new videos or new content posted here. And until then, trade safe, trade well. Take care.